Hi everyone, welcome back to 51 Drones and welcome to another tutorial on the Antigravity A1 360 camera drone. So over the next few weeks of this drone being released, I'm sure that you're going to watch as much content as you can about this drone just because it's such a new offering to the community. And I think it's important that you learn as much as you can before you decide to get one. Now, many of those videos are going to be hype and marketing videos with beautiful landscapes and heart-pounding edits and lots of adrenaline. And those videos are great and they're necessary and much appreciated. But what I've decided to do with this drone is to kind of get back to the basics of the reason that I started this channel 8 years ago, and that's to provide tutorials and information from a new user perspective. Because let's face it, everyone that decides to get this drone is going to be a new user. Now, I've been flying the A1 for almost a month, and I've pretty much gotten everything locked down. So what I want to do with this video is to help you visualize what it's going to be like when you get this drone and what you need to know the first time that you fly it. I'm going to tell you what to expect, what to do, how to edit your footage, and I want to talk about some things that not many people are probably thinking about before they consider buying this drone. So let's discuss that point first, because there are some things that I didn't consider before I started flying this drone. Number one, to get the full experience of the A1, you need to fly it while standing up. In order for you to feel the true immersive experience, you need to be able to move around and turn your head and your body. And yes, you can certainly fly it when you're sitting down. And I actually do recommend that the first time you put it up in the air, that you sit down, because it is very disorienting. I'm not even kidding. A lot of you are probably going to fall down or almost fall down when you put this up in the air and you start looking around, because you get pretty dizzy, but you quickly get used to that. So there's a little bit of an adjustment there. But anyway, if you are able, try standing when you're flying this drone once you get used to that, that initial experience of not really realizing where you are in space. Now, secondly, and this is the second most important thing that I want you to not forget, the A1, and I'm assuming all future 360 camera drones that come to market, have these super wide angle lenses. And they kind of protrude almost like an eyeball. They are extremely vulnerable and it's easy to scratch or even break them. So when you're handling your drone, make sure that you take extreme caution all of the time when you set it down on any surface. If the arms are folded in, you are relatively safe to set it down because there are a couple of little feet for it to rest on, but that lens is just about, I don't know, a couple millimeters above the surface. So even if you put a slight little bit of pressure on the drone, that lens is going to touch the surface. My recommendation is to have these landing gear extended at all times. They auto extend when you turn the drone on, and then they go back up when you turn it off, but I would just manually extend them anytime that you take the drone out of its case. Now, thankfully, Antigravity does offer a lens replacement kit. My advice, buy it. If you buy this drone, buy the lens replacement kit. Buy 2 of them, because I promise you, you will need one. So make sure you add that to your cart if you do decide to get this drone. Thirdly, and the number one thing to remember about a 360 camera drone, at least at this very early stage, like we're going to start to see more of these come to market now, but I think for all of them, at least for a while, don't expect that the video quality is going to be as high as, say, a typical high-end camera drone. Yes, it records in 8K video, but that's with 2 lenses. So each lens is recording 4K. And then when you start to edit the footage, most of the time you're going to be cropping in, and that's going to reduce your resolution even more. Now, the good news is that with the Antigravity Studio app and the powerful editing that it has, you can export some really amazing looking footage from this drone. And you can even export in ProRes. But if you're thinking you're going to buy this drone and have professional video quality right out of the camera, just know that there are more appropriate options out there for that. The reason that anyone should get this drone is for the pure goosebump causing experience that people have every time they're going to fly it. I'm telling you, it is a complete rush. And I haven't been this excited to go fly a drone for the sake of flying for quite a few years. The A1 has brought back the pure love of flying drones for me. Now finally, and also, you need to be aware that there are some additional steps when it comes to editing your footage. learning how to edit 360 video footage can be a little bit of a challenge for new users, but after watching just a couple of videos like this one, you will have no trouble at all. Now I'm going to give you a quick run through of the editing process here in a few minutes. Now, when you get the A1, no matter what bundle you get, the first thing that you need to do is unpack everything, of course, and then charge up all of your batteries. Don't try to fly without charging the batteries. Like, I think you actually have to charge them all the way up before you can use them. But while that's happening, go ahead and download the Antigravity Studio app on your computer, and then also the Antigravity app on your smartphone. And then once all your batteries are charged, you will need to power everything on, and then it's going to prompt you to activate your drone and then to update all of the firmware. Now, once that's done, make sure that you update each battery firmware as well before you head out to fly, or else you're going to be wasting time and battery life out in the field. Now, for that entire process, for me, it took about 2.5 hours to get everything charged up, to get all the firmware updated and everything like that. So just expect that you're going to put aside almost 3 hours to get everything ready before you can actually go out and fly. After you get all that done, then finally insert a micro SD card into the drone as well as into the goggles. Now, they both have internal storage, but it's not going to be enough, at least not on the drone. Recording an 8K video, you're going to need a rather large memory card. Now, the cards that I recommend are linked in the video description if you want to check those out. Now, when it comes to transporting all of your gear for this drone, Antigravity does make a really nice case that everything packs into, but they also include this little felt-lined smaller case that's just for the drone itself. My recommendation, always use this little case for your drone. Don't just put your drone into this bag. Put your drone into this case and then put it into the bag. It is an extra layer of protection for those lenses, and you can never be too careful with 360 camera lenses. Now, this thing packs into the bag nicely, so it's really not a problem to slide it right in there. Now, when you get out to where you're going to fly, I recommend a nice wide open space for your very first flight. And that goes with any drone, but especially with this drone. You are going to be nervous when you're flying this drone, especially if you've never flown a drone with goggles before. It's a whole new level of anxiety. So eliminate as much stress as you can. Yes, the A1 does have obstacle avoidance and it works really well, but that still doesn't remove the uncertainty of flying it your very first time. Now, this next one I know may trigger a few people, but you really should have a visual observer, a second person with you to keep an eye on the drone in the sky while you are flying. And yes, I know, just about everybody does it. They fly by themselves, but I just have to advise you to use that extra set of eyes, especially the first time you fly. And also because legally, in most countries, you are required to have a visual observer. Plus, it's way more fun when you have someone to share this experience with. So let's pack all this stuff up and let's head out and get the A1 up in the air. Okay, so when you get out to where you're gonna fly this drone for the very first time, as I mentioned, you wanna make sure that you have a nice wide open space. Just because, like, in your mind, you're always gonna wonder, you know, how does this thing work with only obstacle avoidance on the front of the drone? But it's fine, trust me. But it's still, you're still not gonna be able to get over that hump. So make sure you fly this in a wide open space until you get used to using it more, okay? When you get out here, you're gonna turn everything on first. So you're gonna push the button once and then tap it. And then as you can see on the drone, the landing gear will drop down. So it's ready to be set on your landing pad or wherever you're gonna launch it from. You can hand launch this drone. I don't recommend it, okay? Just because the propellers are so close to the drone. It's a small drone and there's just too much risk. So I've actually just been launching it off the back of my pickup. You can launch it off your car. A landing pad is best because this does have landing pad recognition. You can enable that in the settings. And so if you do return to home or if it automatically returns to home, its precision landing is gonna be perfect because it's gonna recognize that landing pad. It's gonna land right where you took off from. So if you can, try to use a landing pad. So I'm just gonna set this down on the ice right now. So, and then the same thing for everything else. You double tap it once and hold it for the battery for the goggles. Okay, so we have a tether from the battery to the goggles. So I'm gonna tuck this in. I think it's on, yep. And then the same on the controller. So the power button is right here. On the right-hand side, you just tap it once and then hold it down, and then you'll hear it beep, and then you know it's on. Right now it's fully charged. You got 4 lights on there. I have to say, another benefit of not having a regular controller, I know there's going to be a lot of people complaining that this drone does not have a regular controller, but I can wear gloves that aren't touch sensitive. I don't have to worry about like not wearing gloves, having to take my gloves off to swipe on the screen or to maneuver any of the controls or whatever. Now these aren't the best gloves. They're kind of thick, but they're going to work, okay? Because I'm going to wear them. It's cold out here. So what I like to do, and you can do this however you want to do, but when I launch this drone, I always watch it without the goggles on first, because I want to make sure everything looks okay. It's just part of my pre-flight. I just want to make sure that the drone's not shaking. I want to make sure that everything sounds okay. So it's up to you, but I like to watch it take off. So to take off, here's your launch button right here. So you're gonna push up twice, okay, and that's gonna turn on the motors. So it's gonna turn everything on, and then you're gonna hold on it, and then let go, and then the drone will raise up to 1.3 meters. Don't ask me why that's the number, but that's what it's gonna be. Now you can see, as I'm moving the controller, okay, the drone is moving, right? So this is your motion-based controller. Now, let's see, I want to show you another thing here. So this wheel right here, right? So if you ever want to move the drone heading, you just turn this wheel right here, and that's going to turn the drone whichever direction you're turning this wheel. Okay, so this comes in really useful. Let's move the drone ahead a little bit. Okay, so this comes in really useful if you are not able to turn your body to put your goggle view in the same heading as the drone heading. Okay, and I know that doesn't really make sense to you right now if you've never used this before, but sometimes if you're in a position where you can't turn your body or you can't turn your head, because the goggles view where you're looking and the heading of the drone are not together. They're independent of each other. And so sometimes you may be flying a certain direction and your goggles may be looking this direction, so you're not actually watching, where the drone is headed. So you can use this wheel to adjust the yaw to bring your drone back in line with your goggles heading. So hope that makes sense. So I'm gonna do a little bit of a screen recording here so you guys can see it. But on your controller here, just to do your quick overview, this is your record video button. This is your take a photo button. This is your return to home button. So you're gonna hold down on this and then it will return to home. I already showed you the wheel. On your right-hand side is your power button, and then this is your menu button. So this is the button that you're gonna be using the most to bring up your menu. Over here we have a couple of customizable buttons. There's a C1 and a C2 button, okay? So you can set these to do different things. There's a lot to them. And then right here is your sport mode, normal mode, and cinematic mode, okay? So that's the controller. The throttle is just, you pull the trigger and the drone goes forward. There's no backwards on this drone, there's no need. So if you get in a situation where you need to back the drone up, that's where this wheel comes in handy, okay? So you turn the wheel, fly the drone forward, turn it back, and then you're right back into the position that you want to be, okay? So I'm gonna put the goggles on right now. Okay, one really great thing about these goggles is that they have see-through. So right now, I'm looking at you like I don't have the goggles on. And to turn on see-through, all you have to do is on the left-hand side of the goggles here, you just double tap, okay, the button there, and it's gonna turn on your see-through. And so that comes in really handy if you need to put your gloves on and get ready to fly. So, all right, so let's grab the controller here. And I'm gonna have to start the screen recording so you guys can see what I'm seeing in the drone. All right, so I'm gonna make sure I'm in the right position here. Hopefully you guys can see. All right. All right, to bring up the menu. Okay, let's start the screen recording and then I'll back out so you guys can see what it looks like when it pops up. All right, so go ahead and hit the menu button. And I've already got a couple of videos on the menu system here, so I'm not going to go through it, but I just wanted to give you a real quick look at it to see everything that's available to you as far as changing your settings, your galleries right here. So anything you record or take photos of, it's going to be in the gallery right here. And there's actually a gallery viewer on the goggles, so you can view your videos with the goggles on, and you can look at the photos with the goggles on. And then also, one thing that's really cool about it is, even though the video might be playing in one direction, you can look around with the goggles like this, and you can see everything around where the drone was flying. So it's really, really cool. So this is the menu system, but watch my other videos to get a better idea of how everything works with the menu system and the heads-up display there. So now, one thing I should mention, you do want to adjust your settings, your diopters down here. So on the bottom of the goggles, you can adjust for your vision by turning them. You twist them left or right, and that'll get your vision in view. And then you can also adjust the spacing. So you just move them left or right to make sure that you can see the full screen on your goggles. So make sure you do that before you take off. Again, that's just another way that you can save batteries, to get that done before you take off. Okay, so let's fly forward a little bit right now. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna pull the trigger slightly, all right? And then I'm gonna point it upwards, and the drone is gonna climb upwards, all right? Now, I'm not gonna move the drone at all, but I'm gonna look around. Okay, so you can see in all directions. So very cool, right? So the drone, if you look at the attitude indicator down on the bottom of the goggle screen here, you can see the drone is pointed south, but I'm actually looking north. So they are independent of each other. So you see that little paper airplane? That's where my goggles are pointed. And then the hexagon indicator, that's the heading of the drone. So when these two are together, you are looking in the direction that the drone is flying. When they're apart, you might be looking to the left, but the drone might be going up to the right. Okay, hope that makes sense. Another way that you can increase your altitude is by using the slider button. So you just push up on that launch button, and that's going to go straight up or straight down. So once you get up here, I'm going to hit the record button on the controller so you guys can get a better, I don't know why I keep hitting the return to home button to record a video. So, okay. So there we have the video recording now. And so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to not move at all. So the drone's not moving, the goggles are not moving. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to edit this footage, and I'm going to show you what you can do with this 360 footage, and how you can edit it. Now, right after this, I'm going to go into my computer. I'm going to pull up the Antigravity Studio app, and I'm going to show you guys how to edit this footage. But I want to show you something. This is my favorite thing by far about this drone. So I'm going to go up to the full 120 meters. Okay. Now, it's pretty windy today, and this drone does very well in the wind. I can tell you that right now. Don't worry about flying this drone in windy conditions, because it is really, really good. Right there, we're finally getting the strong wind warning at 100 meters. So we'll just stay here at 104 meters, but check this out, you guys. The first time I did this, honestly, I almost fell down. I had to catch myself on the side of my vehicle, but see right there, you can see me right here standing next to my truck. You can see all the beautiful brown and white landscape around. There's our golf course, public golf course over there. There's the highway, but I just think this is so, so amazing. Like it feels like you're standing on top of like a communications tower, and you're able to look around and see everything around you. So now when it's recording, we're not only recording the goggles view, we're also recording we're not only recording the screen view in my goggles, but we're also recording where I am looking. So it's taking a high resolution video of where I'm looking with the goggles. So without all of the metrics and things on there. So you you are automatically getting a pilot view recording. And then you can also get, it's recording both, views from both cameras. And then when you go into the editing process, that's where you can choose more stabilized footage. You can have more flexibility when you edit the footage. And so, it's really nice to have 3 different recordings. So I'm just going to fly around here a little bit, and I just want to show you. So this is what I mean when I say that you can't really sit down to fly this drone, okay? Because you have to move your body in the way that the drone is flying. So this should fly right over. There we go. Okay. So you can do this while you're sitting down, but it's just not, you're not going to get the full experience because you won't be able to look any more than where you're able to turn your head. So definitely need to be standing here. So yeah, this is just, it's quite the experience. I'll tell you that. I don't know, this is probably the 25th time I would guess that I've flown this drone, and I still get a rush when I fly it. So it's definitely one of the most fun things that you'll ever do. Okay, so that's kind of a general tutorial on how to fly your drone for the first time. I'm going to turn on the see-through here so I can make sure I'm looking at you guys. Oh, there we go. Got a little bit closer. So I guess I really don't have to look through the goggles, but it's just a couple things that I want to make sure you understand, and I want to be very clear about it, is it takes some time to get used to realizing that you don't have to be facing in the direction that the drone is flying. Like, you have that flexibility and the freedom to look around and see the world around you, no matter which way the drone is flying. And I think that is the experience that really sells this drone. Being able to immerse yourself in the flight and feel like you're up in the air, flying around, yet you're still safe here on the ground. So I think that is the biggest takeaway for this drone. So when you bring it home, I like to hit the return to home button and let it get to, close to where I was, just because it's just easier. So I'm just going to do that right now. So I'm going to hit the return to home. It's going to come right back here. It's going to find its launch point. And then right before it gets down to the ground, it's going to lower the landing gear and land softly on the ground. So I know some people don't like to use return to home because they're used to typical GPS camera drones. I don't know. I think you should with this drone. It's just easier than trying to make sure you got everything right, and then get it back to where you launched from. But so yeah. So real quick, I'm going to run home now. I'm going to download all this footage, and I'm just going to give you a real quick tutorial on how to edit the video footage off of this memory card, and then show you how you can share it with your family and friends or whatever. So it's a really simple process. It just takes a few steps to learn how to edit 360 footage. So let's run inside and do that real quick. Okay, one of the most common pain points for 360 camera footage is that you have to do just a few extra steps when it comes to editing your video footage after the fact, because your camera is capturing, 360 degrees of everything around you. And so what you need to do is go into the software, you're going to import that video file, and then you're going to choose your framing. You're going to crop in and position the framing to whatever you want it to be. And so it sounds like it's a little bit intimidating, but once you do it just once or twice, it's actually not that hard. So what you're going to do is, when you're done recording, anything, capturing photos or videos with your drone, You're going to come home. Now you can use the app on your phone, but I actually think that the studio software is much more powerful, and it's just easier to do this kind of editing on your computer, on your desktop. So the Antigravity Studio desktop app is easy to download, and once you get it loaded up, all you have to do is insert your micro SD card into your computer and transfer your files onto your computer into whatever folder that you want to. Then you're going to go ahead and open up the Antigravity Studio software, which I have open right here. And then you're going to import those files so that you can manipulate them and cut them up and produce a final product. So I'm going to go ahead and go to File, Open Files, and then I'm just going to use these 3 files right here. And we're going to import those into the software, and right here they are. So I think I'm going to work with this one. Let's take a look and make sure this is the right one. I think it is. So this was a flight that I did the other day around the train trestle, which is one of my favorite places to fly because it's just got beautiful scenery and it's just a nice subject to shoot. And also, as I was flying, a train actually went over the trestle. So that was a little bit of bonus when I was out there flying. But as you can see now, to position your view in the viewfinder, what you do is you hold down your mouse, your left mouse button, and then you drag around the screen, and you can see all the way around. Okay, so it's captured everything up and down, all the way around. And so you need to decide, well, do I want to focus on these evergreens and, as the drone is flying away, or do I want to focus on the train trestle? And as the drone flies forward, it's going to bring the train into view and things like that. So this is where you have so many different options on how creative you want to be, on what kind of scenes you want to show. You can show, multiple angles of each viewpoint. So it's really just limited only by your imagination. So on the bottom here, this is your basically your playhead. So as you move around the playhead, that's going to go through your video file, depending on where you were recording there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on this section right here, and I'm going to set this as my start point. So if you look right here, there's a make start point, make end point. So I'm just going to click on that, and that's going to get rid of all that extra footage. And we're just going to focus on this little bit right here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll forward a little bit. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to make my start point right there. And I'm going to scroll forward until we come right up to the train. That's a pretty cool shot, right? And I think just to have a little extra, I'm going to go to about right there. And I'm going to set this as my end point. Okay. So there we have our start point and our end point. We got rid of all that extra footage. Now we can come back and use that later and capture some footage from the beginning or in the middle. But for right now, I'm just going to use this part. Now I want to be able to see more of this. So I'm going to click on this plus. Okay, that's going to spread out the timeline here. Okay, so it's going to give me a better opportunity to set up some keyframes. Now, in order to change the viewpoint in 360 footage, you have to use keyframes. And in the Antigravity Studio app, this right here, this little plus, this is how you add a keyframe. So I'm going to position it to where I want to see the drone viewpoint. So let's just say right here, and I'm going to click on the plus. That's going to add a keyframe, and that's going to lock in this position. Now, what you can do is you can adjust your angle of view. So you can click on all these different things right here. So let's start with linear. Okay, and that's going to give us a regular, straight linear viewpoint. You can also try dewarp. That's going to spread it out a little bit, but it's still going to keep your perspective, pretty straight. Now we're going to get into ultra. That's going to spread out your edges. And then we got mega view, which makes it a super wide view. The problem with this is you're getting a little bit of distortion, right? You're getting some curvature there. And then you got tiny planet, which you can play with here. This is kind of a fun way to play with video footage. I'm sure most of you have seen that. But for this, I think I'm going to use dewarp or linear. I think I'm going to go dewarp. It's a little wider angle. And I just like how it looks. Now down here, this is your distortion control. You can turn this all the way down to 0, and that's going to give you just a normal straight view. Or you can go way out, make it super wide angle. Okay, and that's going to give you a lot more of the frame of the scene, but then also everything just looks really distorted, right? So you just have to play with this until it gets to be the where you want it. Like, what kind of look are you going for? So I'm going to leave this about 0.35. Okay. Now I just want to show you these things here too. You can change views instantly. There's the front view, tail view, the port side view, starboard, and then overhead view. So you can quickly get to any view just by simply clicking on one of these right here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to fly forward, or excuse me, I'm going to move the playhead forward a little bit. But let's say, see how the drone is kind of turning to the right a little bit? Let's say I don't want that. Let's say I want it to keep going straight. So I'm going to drag on the screen. Okay, I'm going to go about right there. I'm going to hit another keyframe. So now watch what happens when you play. Oops, didn't want to move that. So what happens is it's going to keep going straight ahead because I changed the viewpoint of the drone. Okay, so you can use these keyframes to adjust whatever position you want to watch. All right, and then let's go ahead here forward a little bit. And I think what I'm going to do here, I'm going to lock in that viewpoint, but then I'm going to go ahead a little bit, and then I'm going to go to the right and just get kind of a lateral view of the train going by. I'm going to lock that in. Okay, and I'll just show you what that looks like now with those two keyframes. See? And then it gradually turns over. Okay, now that wasn't a very smooth transition. Like, what you have to do is kind of play with these a little bit and, just figure out how much you need to adjust to make it more of a smooth transition. But basically, that's how you adjust all of your footage. Okay, so that looks a little better right there. But anyway, so you have so many different opportunities to change how your footage looks. Okay, so there's more to this, but I don't want to make this video too long. I will show you this here. This is where you can change, basically do some color editing and things like that. I always recommend choosing Color Plus, and then you can adjust the intensity from 0 all the way up to 100%. As you can see, 100%, that's a little bit too much, right? Look at that sky. It's not very good. Got some banding there, quite a bit of banding actually, and that's pretty common with 360 camera footage. So, but I usually leave this strength right around 30 to 40% most of the time. It really just depends on, what the sky's looking at, depends on the colors that are in the video, but I'll just turn this off so you can see the difference. So there it's a little more flat, and there it has a little more contrast and just a little more color. And then you can adjust each individual parameter right here, okay? And then what I'm going to do, I'm not going to go through all these. I'll do a different video that'll do a detailed review on how to do everything with the app. But right now I'm just going to show you the export dialog here. So it gives you the default name. You can change that. If you're going to export in 264 or 265, you can choose your bitrate. I just go 200 every single time. But I recommend, if you have the computing power, to export in ProRes 422 LT. You can do ProRes, but you're looking at a 3 gigabyte file there just for that little bit. And then 422 Lite is only about 2 gigabytes, which is still pretty big, but you're going to save quite a bit of space by doing that. And you really don't have to export in 422 just because you're probably not going to be showing this on the big screen, right? And then here you can adjust the name. So I'm just going to put trestle, train, whatever, just like that. And then we're going to start the export. And then if you want to see where the export is, like how long it's taking, just click on this task center up here and it'll show you the process of how long it's taking to export that. So that's pretty much it. I will put the final file here so you guys can see what it looks like, but it's really not that hard, you guys. Once you get into the software and just start playing around with it, you'll get it. Like I said, after one or two times, it's not intimidating anymore. So anyway, I hope that helps, and good luck. Okay, so hopefully I was able to help you kind of understand the process of everything that you need to do when you fly the A1 for the very first time. Like I said, pretty much everybody watching this video right now, you've never done this before. And so it's my goal with this drone to teach you as much as I can about it. I'm trying to get back to the basics of this channel. Back in 2017 when I started it, my goal was to help people understand how to fly their drones, how to get the most out of them, and kind of focused on tutorials, right? And over the years, I still do that, but I've kind of shifted and started to do more reviews, and I've really missed the tutorial process. And so this drone has brought that back for me. Like, this drone has made it so much more fun to get back into flying drones and to show you guys how to use it. Like I love it. I love this feeling of being excited about not only flying drones, but also teaching you guys how to do it. So hopefully I can do that. I do have a playlist. So click on that playlist if you haven't watched all my videos on the A1, and I'm going to continue to make videos on it. I'm going to do all kinds of tutorials. I'm going to go through all the flight modes, make sure that you guys understand how to use, the tracking and the waypoints and the intelligent flight modes. So yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun with this drone, and I want you to make sure that you have all the information that you need before you make a purchasing decision. But if you are ready to buy this right now, there are links in the video description. And if you use those links, it helps the channel and helps me continue to make videos like this. So really appreciate that, you guys. So thanks for watching the video. I hope you... So thanks for watching today. So thanks for watching today. Click on the thumbs up if I was able to give you anything of value today. Hopefully I did. And thanks for watching the entire video. Have a great day, and as always, fly safe and fly smart.